Hi, welcome to Sports Bets for Free. Where this is going to be college football live betting. We are getting about ready for the early games here in the next 3 to 5 minutes. So we're going to kind of get ready to get going here on this particular one. Just to give you an idea of these early matchups, let me get you a list of those here really quick. So live matchup-wise for college football on this 10 o'clock Arizona window, it'll be 9 o'clock Pacific, 12 o'clock Eastern. We've got Navy, SMU, Houston, UCF, Indiana, Purdue, Troy, Southern Miss, Miami of Ohio, Ball State, Northern Illinois, Kent State, Middle Tennessee, Sam Houston, Texas A&M, LSU, Kentucky, Louisville, Pittsburgh, Duke, UConn, UMass. And the game, I think as they're going to call it, is going to be Ohio State, Michigan. So we'll be right back with you here in just a couple minutes, but just wanted to give you a heads up on this, what we got going on in the live betting that we'll be looking at. And we'll talk with you soon. So thank you for joining us on this live edition of college football, Week 13 rivalry edition. We're going to be watching these games as we go along as well. So if you have any questions, though, or want to talk about any of the live bets or any bets going on out there, feel free to hit the chat section and check that out. And we'll be more than happy to discuss any of that with you. Also, if you're on our channel, you can actually go see all of our bets that we already have for today before the live bets. On the Google sheet, you'll see that if you're in our channel, you will see a link to docs.google, and that'll have a list of all of our plays for today and what we've got going on. So make sure you do check that out when you get some time, as we will go through those as well. So fun stuff going on. Rivalry week, Week 13. Just a reminder of what we have going on. We have the under in this Michigan-Ohio State matchup. We liked SMU quite a bit today, and then that LSU over. So that is the three games that we have early are going to be the under on the Michigan-Ohio State, along as first quarter and first half unders. Also, SMU against Navy today, and then also we have the LSU Texas A&M over. As we're not quite kicked off anywhere yet. But they're showing a lot of shots, obviously, of Michigan, Ohio State, as they should be. Should be a hell of a game to get this started. Both defenses ranked in the top 10. That's why we went to the under on this particular matchup. I think it's going to be the first one to 20 to 23 in that range that wins this ball game. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to put up 24 plus on either defense, as they both look pretty outstanding. I'll put it to you that way. So, therefore, I think the under was the play in that particular matchup. And then some of the other matchups, though, maybe not the LSU game, that LSU, the Texas A&M game, it could be a race to see who gets to 50 first in that particular matchup. So a lot of things going on there. As basically we get to kick off in a lot of these games. We're going to be following along on we will follow along today on DraftKings is where we're going to be following the live bets and what they adjust those to. If DraftKings is going to give us any issues, which they have on the live betting on some of this stuff, we will be flipping over probably to ESPN Bet or FanDuel just to give you a heads up on where we're following the live betting at. But feel free to, it should be relatively close at your book as well. So make sure you check that out on those live bets. So if you're also looking for some NBA action, we'll give you a heads up. Trae Young over 2.5 3-pointers is our NBA best bet of the day. So if you're looking for a little bit additional action besides what's going to go on in football today, feel free to get that one done as well. But we do have a episode out of our NBA bets for today. Basically like Wizards, Hawks over, Thunder, Trae Young over 3-pointers made Trae Young over points. So we're going to get to the football games here as we get rolling live. So we'll take a look at that as well. So make sure, like I said, make sure you check all this out. Should be some good stuff as we get kind of started here on what's going on football-wise. So, and we also are going to try to get maybe 2 sites going here. But we're not getting a lot of love on that one there. So we're not getting a lot of love on the FanDuel side at the moment for college football. I don't know why. All right, so we do have kickoffs already in the Navy SMU game in Indiana, Purdue. What everybody wants to watch, right, is Indiana, Purdue. So LSU game looks like it's coming up after they give Jaden Daniels all the love on the world. No reason not to on that particular one there. So we're going to go see. We're going to flip around TV-wise and see if we can get a little bit better love as well. So Texas A&M, like I said, LSU about to kick off on that one. Then we've got Navy, SMU has already kicked off. Looks like SMU is already in scoring territory. So it should be good for us there, as we really liked SMU today as they can score and Navy struggles to. So nothing real difficult about that matchup, if you ask me. But and then as we get ready for the big game or the game or whichever one you want to call it, Michigan, Ohio State, as we watch that monster unfold. And then let's see, let's take a look see if we can catch up with this Navy SMU game. There's so many games going on. Sometimes a little hard to follow along with any of them, to be really honest here, but we try to do our best. Looks like SMU is in range there. And no scores so far in any of the games for live betting to kind of change the way that those things go on that one there. So no score in that Middle Tennessee State, Sam Houston game. Same thing, Northern Illinois, Kent State, Miami of Ohio, Ball State. Miami of Ohio has the ball. Looks like they're about to punt as they're about at midfield. SMU is the closest one at the inside the Navy 10. It looks like they're replaying a play there. And LSU still to kick off. Ohio State, Michigan still to kick off. As they keep pushing, they want that Ohio State-Michigan game to be basically the game. So they're going to probably start it like 10, 15 or 15 minutes behind schedule. I don't quite understand that one, but, got to make sure everybody's eyeballs are on that, as I think Fox is going to, it's their biggest eyeballs of the season on that one there. So we do have like quad box going on. If you guys do not have YouTube TV, I might recommend it, as you get to watch a lot of quad box games where you can put 4 games on the screen. Then if you got multiple screens, you can have like 8 games going on at the same time. It's great for the NFL ticket as well if you purchase that. So a lot of good things there with YouTube TV streaming that way. So SMU looks like they were held out of the end zone. Should be first and goal at the 1 yard line, though, as they try to punch that in. And looks like we have a touchdown in that Navy SMU game. I can't believe we're ahead of the book on this one. That's pretty impressive. That never happens. So, like I said, if you do have any questions in the chat box, make sure you put those down there. We'll be more than happy to go through those with you on any of the games going on or yet to come. Looks like Northern Illinois does take a 3-0 lead over Kent State. Like I mentioned, SMU just did score that touchdown to get that game to 7-0. As SMU takes the lead, and that line jumps to 24.5 for SMU. Total at 50.5. I'll be really honest, I probably should have bet the over before the game started on that particular one. SMU does what they do, and they might put up 48 by themselves. So now we get a chance to watch the Jaden Daniels offense as he goes crazy. So on that one there. So and nothing else really going on at this point here as we're still waiting for Ohio State, Michigan to kick off. LSU is now 4th and 1, I think, at their own 25. So probably going to punt. So we need a lot of points in that game, and we need them in a hurry. So we'll take punt return touchdowns or whatever we can get on that particular one in order to make that come home. But basically what we're doing is we're going to be your friend here today watching college football with you in this early matchup. And then we'll get going from there on the later windows and things of that nature. But basically we're here to help you with live betting if we can, and what looks good, what doesn't look good. Maybe with compared to your bets that started off, or what a lot of people do these days, they don't even bet the game before. They just live bet, get kind of a feel for the game, maybe, and work the magic from there. But like I said, the SMU, though, that's one of those ones if you don't hop on before the game starts, next thing you know, you're in trouble if you wanted to take SMU, because now the line goes from basically – it had moved to like 20 to 24.5 as they score in the first 2 minutes. Some of these lower scoring games, though, might not be a bad idea to wait till live betting comes available. Houston does score on UCF. They go up a touchdown. We're waiting for the live line to update there on that one. Middle Tennessee State it does score against Sam Houston. They're up 7-0. And nothing in the Louisville, Kentucky, or that dreadful UMass game. If you did like the LSU over, I will say this. It has went down 1.5. It was at 67, down to 65.5 now for a total. If you still think there's going to be tons of scoring, it might not be a bad spot on that one there. And, LSU, Texas A&M does what Texas A&M does, is run the ball way too damn much. But, they don't have a top flight quarterback with all the talent they've recruited there. I know Jimbo got let go, but with all the talent he recruited there, it's kind of shocked that he wasn't able to recruit a top flight quarterback with all the NIL money that was floating around College Station and Texas A&M. So kind of shocked about that a little bit. No question about that. But the next guy that comes in, supposedly they're getting close to deciding on what coaches to go after. Big rumor around is that Ryan Day from Ohio State is on their radar. I don't know why you'd leave Ohio State for Texas A&M unless, let's say it's 10 years, $150 million. Might get the job done. Money talks, so to speak. LSU gets a big tackle and leaves him short. So about fourth down, a little over 2 to go, midfield. As we do that, we're going to flip around TV-wise and kind of see what we can catch up for the games here. So they still not kicked off that Michigan game. I don't know if they just refused to or what the deal is, but absolutely ridiculous. Looks like we've got an injured LSU player. As we kind of flip around here to the next quad box of games to see if we catch anything. It's a loss of 4 yards. The biggest star on the field, Marvin Harrison. And we'll get locked in for this this Ohio State-Michigan game here. We are going to step away for just a quick second. So do give us just a second break, and we'll be back with you here shortly. All right, so thank you for that quick second break there. As we're going to get back to it here. So we've got college, like I said, college football live betting is what we're going to do here. SMU has a 7-0 lead. Line is actually back down to 19. It looks like 19.5. Houston over UCF 7-0. No score, Indiana, Purdue. Same thing, Troy, Southern Miss. Same thing, Miami, Ohio, Ball State. Northern Illinois 3-0 lead on Kent State. And Middle Tennessee, Sam Houston is 7-0 in that particular matchup there. So we're still, like I said, waiting for Michigan, Ohio State. God forbid they kick off at 10 like they're supposed to and not overrun everything like they normally do on there. But Ball State looks like they just scored, take 6-0 lead, probably pending an extra point here. As we don't have a lot of, unfortunately, that game is not going to be shown quite a bit. So how many more interviews can they do with people on the sidelines to try to catch them ahead of time? It's unreal. LSU, Texas A&M still 0-0. The bunch of zeros, so to speak, right? So, and like I said, we're just waiting for that Ohio State-Michigan game to kick off, kind of the early game that everybody's got their eye on. We've got our eye on as well. I don't expect a lot of scoring, expect a lot of defense. So on this particular matchup, we're going to watch. If there is some scoring early, we're definitely probably going to hammer the under for late on that. If they, let's say they put up 14 points or something in the first quarter, that total should move from 47, 48, probably in the 50s. And then we're going to come back and hit it on the backside. As I think the defenses, if they give up something early, they'll figure something out, as both defenses are way too talented to not be basically in charge of this game. And of course, the story that's kind of dissipated over the last few weeks is Jim Harbaugh is out, serving his suspension. On that one, SMU, by the way, got the ball back. They're almost back in Navy red zone area, as it's they're inside the 30 on that one there. UCF at their own 12-yard line, the way it looks. Purdue at the Indiana 42. Miami, Ohio got the ball. They're 1st and 10. And let's see here. LSU got the ball back. They're 2nd and 3 at their own, almost at midfield. So quite a bit of stuff going on. That is for dang sure. So like I mentioned before, if you do have any questions, just type them in the chat box. We'll be more than happy to go through those with you. If it's about live betting, if it's any games going on currently, or if it's something, football or basketball related, no problem at all. We'll be more than happy to answer those as we get started off here. But Ohio State, Michigan, Ohio State with the ball first. We'll kind of see what's going on here with this particular matchup. let's see if Ohio State, Kyle McCord, and all those stars that they've got on that team can actually get the ball moving, so to speak. So, like I said, expect not necessarily a ton of 3 and outs as much as we got maybe a first down or two and then had to punt and then field position from there. So SMU down inside, looks like they're at the red zone again as they try to go put the butt whooping on Navy early. If Navy's going to have to control the clock, if they got any chance at all of getting into that matchup, so on there. But Kyle McCord, it looks like second down. About 2nd and 5 here. See if they don't go to another run play, which they do. Looks like about a gain of a half a yard to a yard on that one. So not a lot of excitement yet in that ball game. Let's see. We'll scroll through the rest of the games here. Looks like LSU's got a first down at midfield with about 5 minutes off the clock so far in the first quarter. Ohio State starts off. Looks like 4th and 4. They're going to have to punt here. Michigan get the ball. Expect a lot of running from Michigan. SMU just scores again. Looks like they're going up 14-0 in this particular matchup. So way to go, SMU, as we're trying to cover all those points that we possibly can the whole game through. Miami, Ohio, looks like they're down to 4th down, so looks like they're probably going to have to punt. Duke takes a 3-0 lead over Pitt. LSU is down to the Texas A&M 20, around the 25-yard line. So as we do have the over in that particular matchup, still sitting around 65.5. We got it at 66 for the game, so nothing really drastic changed too much there. But we need LSU to go pump in some points. So we're going to watch this Michigan offense as they come onto the field. Like I said, not as many early games as there normally is either. So a lot of times there's going to be a lot more early games than this. But, there are some big games, obviously, with the Michigan State. I'm not Michigan State. How about a Michigan-Ohio State game? 1st and 10 at 35. And this game is must be a serious delay as the books already got it at 3rd and 5. So incomplete on first down. On there. Nothing's changed. Let's look at this game here really quick. The line's 3.5 still, 44.5 now for the total as we've already had one punt. So look at that drop on there. So like I said, we're just kind of kicking back and waiting for action to kind of happen. That SMU game where they've scored now 14 points, the line is 30.5 and the total's moved to 55. So the total's moved over a touchdown for the game. On there, and then that line itself has moved like 10 points as they're taking a 14-0 lead in that particular matchup. Houston, cuts into that UCF. It was about a 2-touchdown favorite for UCF. Now it's down to 9.5. So if you did like UCF, might not be a bad time to chomp back in on that particular matchup. Ball State gets the ball back inside their own 10-yard line. Northern Illinois, like I said, has a 3-0 lead. They were a 17-point favorite, roughly, or 20-point favorite. They're still 20.5. Middle Tennessee State, Sam Houston. Looks like Sam Houston might be in the red zone, but they've locked that game currently on that. Duke 3-0 lead. LSU just scores to go up 6-0 in that particular matchup. The total has not adjusted yet, though. It looks like it's still at 66.5. Let's take a look here. Yep, still at 66.5 on that one. But 6-0 lead there. And then that Michigan game, like the Michigan had to punt the ball back. Now Ohio State's got the ball inside their own 25. Nothing to be too it's kind of how we thought the game would kind of play out a little bit. I just think the defenses are so good on both sides. They keep it in front of them. There's not really any chunk plays. So it's hard for the offenses to really get going and just to grind out first downs. So nothing unusual, I don't think, on that particular matchup so far. The only really shocker so far, I think, is Ball State taking a 6-0 lead on Miami, Ohio. UMass just scores to go up 6-0 as well in that matchup. LSU does kick the extra point, so about 8 minutes left in the first quarter there, and they're up 7-0. That game was like a 66, 67 total to start. It's still at 66 and a half as they're kind of scoring at pace. That's what happens a lot. So you got to remember in the live betting, a lot of this is based off of time left, things of that nature, right? So, for example, if you got, let's say 48 is the total, right? So your average is 12 per quarter. So if they're at 12 at the end of the first quarter, like a total, that total is probably going to stay steady at 48. It's a lot of computer-driven numbers, like time left, so on and so forth in that one. The key is to try to catch it when you can see the teams like moving the ball like crazy up and down the field. Maybe they don't score a lot in the first quarter, but maybe we catch that thing late. You're going to see a lot of that in the NFL as well. If you like watching NFL football, which most of us that watch college football do, you're going to – same type of thing happens in those games. It's going to be – either they scored nothing in the first quarter and the total came way down. Well, maybe it might be an opportunity to catch the over at that point. Or if they scored a ton in the first quarter, all of a sudden that total explodes. Same thing with the game. So, for example, like, you get a team that you think is going to win the game and all of a sudden they're down 7 to 10 points. A lot of times you can bet money line on the way back and it's not as painful, paying all the juice. So it looks like 14-0 SMU, 7-0 Houston, Indiana Purdue still at 0, Troy Southern Miss still at 0, Ball State still with the 6-0 lead in the first quarter, Northern Illinois up 3-0, Middle Tennessee State up 7-3, Duke 3-0, LSU 7-0, UConn 6-0 lead, Louisville just scores to go up 6-0 in that particular matchup, and we got a 0-0 game, Ohio State Michigan. On that particular one. So like I said, any questions that you have on any of the games going on, any of the games coming up later today, NFL-wise as well, if you got questions or if you got anything on basketball, be more than happy to do that. We're doing live betting, but taking sports questions as well. So feel free to chime in if you got any questions on those. But this Michigan-Ohio State game, like I said, it would not shock me if we're at like, I don't know, 6-3, 7-7, 7-3 at the half. I don't expect a lot of things to happen, but there might be a couple of weird plays or, not the norm plays that might get it going. But Michigan stops Ohio State trying to run the ball again. If you want to run the ball against Michigan, I'll give you a key. You got to throw the ball first, spread them out a little bit, cover those receivers a little bit more, like Marvin Harrison Jr., and then that should open up some run lanes after the fact. It's hard to set up the pass with establishing the run against them. You almost have to do it the opposite way on that one. So we'll watch here as Ohio State gets ready to go, 2nd and 8. And here Gus Johnson do what he does, which Gus Johnson, weird shit always happens in Gus Johnson games. All right, so Ohio State does get a first down, moves the ball to about the 38-yard line. Gain of 11. Gus Johnson can seem go and poop on the toilet exciting. So he is definitely one of the best college football announcers out there. That is for sure. So Hendricks catching that pass across the middle. So nothing really going our way. We're probably going to come back to this Miami, Ohio. This looks like, they did score in that matchup there. So it looks like 6-6 extra point pending. They're up 7-6 in that matchup. About 4 minutes left to go. We'll see what that lineup dates to. Northern Illinois scores a touchdown. They're now up 10-0. Duke still 3-0. LSU still 7-0. Louisville kicked the extra point to go up 7-0. And we're going to check here on this Michigan game. Looks like 3rd and 10 as we're about a play behind as they're showing 2nd and 10 now. So I'm assuming run for no gain. Yep. Like I said, Ohio State's going to have to figure this out pretty quickly, I think, here. You know what I mean? So, it's hard to run the ball against them. Throw the ball. Throw the ball. Throw the ball. Throw the ball. I think on 3rd and 10, they're probably going to throw the ball, right? So, man, playing at that big house, 105,000 screaming fans, unbelievable atmosphere. So we'll watch 3rd and 10. Michigan does stop them. Looks like 4th and 1 from about their 47-yard line. So we'll see what I would assume Michigan's going to punt here and play the field position battle with them. Or I'm sorry, Ohio State. Their defense is really good too. I don't think Michigan's going to be able to run the ball up and down the field. So I would punt here, take the field position battle, especially early in this ball game. So we'll see what Michigan elects to do here. Looks like they are going to punt. Or I'm sorry, Ohio State. I keep saying Michigan. My apologies. Looks like they're going to punt there. So nothing in that particular game. Nothing to be, like I said, not unexpected at all with these two defenses to be nothing. How about fair catch and get tackled and they don't call nothing? That's crazy. Texas A&M moving the ball just a shade. Now they're 2nd and 10 at their own 46. Duke up 3-0. Middle Tennessee State scored. Northern Illinois was still up 10-0. Miami of Ohio still up 7-6. Troy now scores over Southern Miss to go up 7-0. Indiana Purdue still scoreless. Welcome to Big Ten football. SMU has moved the ball down to the Navy 31-yard line as they look to go put up even more points. Having SMU at the start of this game, I don't know. Like, it's going to make it real hard to probably live bet anything here. Unless this line gets so far out of control that we've got to bet Navy maybe on the way back. Like if it gets to Navy plus the 40-point range, we might have to play that one on the way back, but nothing currently with the way it sits, trying to hit the middle, so to speak, on that one. As we grabbed SMU earlier in the week at minus 18 for the game. But like I said, if it goes 40, that gives us a 22-point window on there, which 22 points is 3 touchdowns plus, right? So we like the odds of maybe middle in that game if we get an opportunity to. But SMU is going to have to score here pretty quick on that one there as well. Houston up 7-6. UCF's come back to score. What a shock. Indiana Purdue still scoreless. Miami of Ohio still up 7-6. 10-0 Northern Illinois. LSU still up 7-0. Texas A&M, though, does have the ball in LSU territory at the 34-yard line. UConn still up 6-0. Louisville still up 7-0. Ohio State, Michigan still scoreless with a little bit over 9 minutes to go in the first quarter. So if we were looking for a scoring win early, we could be in a little bit of trouble as there's probably some pretty good defensive battles there for sure. So SMU, I don't know what happened there, but all of a sudden now they're at their own 17-yard line. So a little bit there. But if you do have any questions or want to chat about any of the games going on or games going on later, make sure you hit us in the chat box. We'll be more than happy to discuss those. It could be about college football today. It could be about Heisman. It could be about college football championships next week and their conference championships. It could be about who makes the top 4. It also could be about NFL. So or basketball. We're open to any of those at the moment. Or if you want to talk about hot stove baseball, well, we're huge baseball fans. So feel free to hit us in the chat box. We'll be more than happy to chat back with you, see what you like. If you have questions about something, if you want to check out all of our bets that we made pre-games, you can do so on our YouTube channel at Sports Bets for Free. You'll see in the basically a headline there, Google, and then a bunch of stuff after it. That's actually going to be our ledger. You'll be able to see all of our bets, what juice we got those at, how many units we placed on those, and then what book we got those at. So make sure you do check that out. Like I said, it'll show our ledger for all season long. It show if you want to go back to football of last year, you can to see what we did. You can also go baseball this year. There's also basketball this year, and then also football. So a lot of bets to look at. Like I said, what juice we got them at, how many units. And units is going to be different for everybody depending on budget, right? It could be a unit, could be 10 cents. It could be $1. It could be 5, 10, 20, 100. 1,000, just depending on what you want. Now, I will say if your unit is 1,000, you're going to have to find multiple books for a lot of the player props that we play, as they have limits on those. And normally it's not that, normally they're not going to let you bet 10,000 on a player prop. So you're going to have to find multiple books on those, but that is all right. You can do so. without a problem. So, but sides, most of the time, if you're betting the $10,000 plus the game, you find a lot of books that'll take $10,000 and not question it too much. If it's not a side or a total, it's just when you get to the player props that you run into that issue. So like I said, if you got any questions at all, just make sure you hit us in the chat box, and we'll be more happy. We're getting back to this Michigan-Ohio State game as they come out of commercial break. SMU, by the way, looks like now they're back in Navy territory, up 14-0. Houston up 7-6. Indiana, Purdue still scoreless. What a shock. Troy up 7-0 on Southern Miss. Miami of Ohio 7-6 lead on Ball State. Middle Tennessee State up 10-3 now. Pittsburgh, Duke tied at 3. LSU 7-0 lead. And Texas A&M isn't in LSU territory. Let's see if they can put up any points. Louisville up on Kentucky 7-0. Ohio State, Michigan, which we're watching, is still 0-0. And it looks like Michigan's going to probably have to punt again as it's 0-0. They're going to punt here back to Ohio State 29 with a little over 7 minutes to go in that particular matchup. Like I said, not a shock. Like, we didn't expect Ohio State, Michigan to be in the game in the 30s. Like, the first one to 20 could win this game. And not really run into too many issues doing so. So, both teams can rely on their defense. I mean, hell, Ohio State held Notre Dame to 3-0, like 3 points. So nothing to be unexpected there in that matchup. Looks like Ohio State's going to start off at their own 20 as the ball did get a good touchback. SMU does score again to go up 21-0 on Navy as they kind of really blast this one through here. Let's see. So 21-0. We're waiting to see what the new total is going to be. Like I mentioned before, we did have SMU minus 18 that we took earlier in the week, but the line just posted at 35.5. So let's talk about live line options here. So in this particular game, first of all, I don't know if the total went to 58.5. So let's look at both sides of this. So Navy plus 35.5, and we have SMU minus 18. That gives us basically a 17.5 point spread to try to middle that particular game. I think we're going to stay away at 35.5, though. I mentioned if that line does hit 40, that we will probably take that, as that'll give us 22 points difference, and we'll try to hit the middle on that particular one. Nothing out of the ordinary on some of the other games. So unfortunately, a lot of times what you're looking for a live line is something weird to happen early and try to take advantage of it with the way you think the game's going to go total. So the LSU Texas A&M game did come to the end of the first. Oh, wow. Came to the end of the first quarter at 7-0. So we did take a loser in the first quarter total on that particular game. For some reason, it's still 67.5. Let's update that here really quick. And that SMU game now moved to 36.5. It's getting closer. We're going to have to go the other way, I think. Let's see here. Yeah, LSU, 67.5. I'll be really honest with you. I know we have over 66 for the game, but with only scoring 7 points in the first quarter, I know Texas A&M is down to the LSU 20, but it is 3rd and 11, so it's probably a good field goal opportunity. I really might have to think about taking the under here. And doing more of a salvage on that particular one. Now the line goes off to make it even more exciting. So SMU, like I mentioned, up 21-0. Now that lines went to 35.5. No other changes from scoreboard-wise. Miami, Ohio, back inside the Ball State territory. They're inside the Ball State 30 as they're up 7-6. Let's see here. UConn up 6-0. That's the same. Ohio State, Michigan's the same. So nothing really changed here in the last couple of minutes. If you have any questions, though, make sure you do hit the chat box. Type in your questions there. We'll be more than happy to talk anything from football, basketball, hell, even baseball, hot stove at this point. We love most sports. Formula One, if you're into that, feel free. As that race in Abu Dhabi is going on. So as they went through free practice again, qualifying coming up, and also the race tomorrow. Ohio State's got the ball back at their own 20. Intercepted by Michigan, so we might have our first movement of this particular game. And he might be inside the 10 on that one. Wow, what a play. Kyle McCord turning the ball over. The one thing you can't do. Looks like Michigan is now down to the 5 or the 7-yard line, 1st and goal. So big change in that particular matchup. Sudden change is what they talk about. Sudden change is the hardest thing in football to overcome. If you're Kyle McCord, you cannot – well, the one thing you cannot do in this game is turn the ball over. Your defense, like I said, has been spectacular, but they are like most defenses on sudden change. It is hard to stop them, especially when they just came off the field on a 3 and out. And now all of a sudden you're going to give them goal to go from the 7-yard line. You're making it really tough on your defense. And there's not a reason to. It's play smart, conservative football. And you're probably going to, you got a great chance to come out with a win on the road. So we'll watch 1st and goal from the 7. Handoff. No yards, basically. Maybe a yard. So obviously, like I mentioned before, we're on the under in this game, so we'd love them to hold them to a field goal here, but we shall see. The lines moved from, by the way, it was 3.5. Now all of a sudden, it is 6.5 Michigan. So if you liked Ohio State plus the 3.5, you might want to play the plus 6.5, as that line might change if they score this. If they score the touchdown, you're going to get even more though. So you might get 7.5. So we'll watch here. I think they get the ball down to the 1-yard line, and it's 3rd and goal, as we're about to play behind on the television. Yep, they're down to the 1-yard line, 3rd and goal from the 1. Probably going to have 2 chances from there, I would assume, to get the ball in. But we'll take a look here and see what's going to happen on that. And then we're going to just double-check this SMU game. It's up to 37.5 as they have the ball again. So let's see here. And Miami, Ohio, still the same. Northern Illinois, Kent State is actually in the red zone. Texas A&M is down to the 1-yard line of LSU. That line is dropped on the over there to 61.5, by the way, as well. Michigan not able to get the ball in on that particular one. But it does look like the book has Michigan at 6, so it looks like they might have scored on 4th down. All right, so we're still waiting to see what happens in this Michigan-Ohio State game on the scoring, as they took the score off the board on DraftKings. Let's see here. SMU down to the Navy 30. LSU up 7-6 now. Texas A&M gets it in the end zone on that one, pending the extra point. They couldn't show like 4 worst angles on this game, I don't think, in this Michigan-Ohio State game. Ugh. Not good at all. They still can't tell us who scored in this game. 7-7 now in Texas A&M LSU. Looks like about a minute and a half gone, and so far in the second quarter in that particular matchup there. So not a ton of scoring in that game. We expected that game to probably play in the 80s, but it hasn't worked out so far. So the book has changed again on DraftKings. Now that all of a sudden they have it 6-0, but 4th and goal. Oh, okay. So 4th down. Maybe they get it going here. There ain't no decision here for Michigan. The worst case scenario, if you get stopped, you have Ohio State basically at the goal line and surviving for air. So definitely one of those ones you have to go for it. on there. That's a touchdown for Michigan. 6-0. Now 7-0. 7.5 point live line now on that. So if you did like Ohio State to start this game and you were betting in at 3.5, I'll be really honest, 7.5 is not a bad spot to be with about a little over 5 minutes to go now in the first quarter on that particular one there. So we'll check the rest of the games. Louisville still up 7-0. UConn still up 6-0. Like I mentioned before, A&M and LSU tied at 7. No changes in a lot of the other games except Miami of Ohio now takes a 14-6 lead in that game against Ball State. Troy still up 7-0. Indiana finally decided to score in the Indiana-Purdue game to make it 7-0. And SMU now has went up 27-0 pending extra point. Total at 42.5. So if you've been paying attention so far, we are going to hit Navy plus 42.5 as we took SMU earlier. We're going to come back to Navy minus or plus 42.5 on that one. So make sure I will update this on our Google sheet as well. As we're going to take that plus 43.5 before we could even make the bet on that Navy SMU game. That is minus 115. And we will try to middle that game. It's already 28-0, 43.5 now. For Navy, like I mentioned before, we took SMU minus 18 in that particular matchup. So we are going to try to middle this thing. Nothing wrong with hitting the middles, right? So this gives us a lot of points. 25 points basically on that game is what we got spread-wise from the original spread. The reason why I kind of give you that is I know it's 28-0. You're like, well, it's only another 15 points. You would be surprised how many games end up a little bit closer to the middle, so to speak. So 28-0. We are going to take that 43.5 with Navy. If we miss, we miss, right? Like it is gambling. It is educated gambling, obviously, but it is gambling. So nothing to really, if you miss, you miss. But it's hard to turn down that opportunity to get 43.5 points on that one. So now back down to 42.5. So glad we grabbed the 43.5 when we did. That total's moved all the way up to 62.5 as SMU is just putting on a monster show here so far. 28 points in the first quarter. They might have to call the dogs off in the second quarter, let alone the second half. Houston takes a 10-6 lead on that one there. Well, like I mentioned, Indiana up 7-0. Troy up 7-0. Miami, Ohio up 14-6. Northern Illinois ahead of Kent State 10-7. Kent State is moving the ball. They are down in the Northern Illinois 9. I'm going to be honest with you. We might come back here and play this Kent State game. Northern Illinois has just sucked as a huge favorite. I do not know why. They got their ass kicked in the weekday games in the MAC action. They've been great as a dog, but as games they're supposed to win, they definitely do not. LSU has the ball at their own 25. They're tied 7-7. Louisville up 7-0. Like I mentioned, Michigan up 7-0. A little bit over 5 minutes to go in the first quarter in that Michigan-Ohio State game. That total is at 45.5 still, so we're going to stay away from that one. How quickly it turns. That Michigan line now at 6.5 when it was at 7.5 there right after the touchdown scored. So a lot of times right after that touchdown or a scoring play, a lot of times is the best time to catch those lines going one way. So especially if you're looking for plus points. Navy moving the ball on SMU. They've actually got the ball at the Navy 45-yard line. Looks like third down there. We're going to get caught up with Ohio State, Michigan. See if Ohio State can actually put anything together here. A lot of great games today. Obviously, Iron Bowl with Auburn, Alabama, Washington State, Oregon State last night was a great game. I mean, Oregon only put up 31 points, so Oregon State's defense is good. But DJU shows again why he couldn't win a big game in Clemson, and he can't win a big game out there in Oregon State. So And Ohio State seems determined to run the ball. I guess I need to give Ryan Day a call. But, after the Kyle McCord interception, I don't know if we expected anything less than that. So, on there. So, let's see what comes up here on the next play for Ohio State, Michigan. Can't believe Kyle McCord's got all those good stickers. And he's been well below what CJ Stroud was for the last couple seasons. They act like he's got so much pressure. And another run for Ryan Day. And now all of a sudden it's going to be 3rd and 4. Exciting stuff in that game, right? It's like run for 1 year. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Does apply, I guess, to the Ohio State offense, which you would have never said in years past on that. So kind of crazy, but looks like according to the book, they did get a first down here. So let's watch to see what happens. If they're gonna beat Michigan, they're gonna have to throw it. I know you might not trust the youngster back at quarterback in McCord, but he's had a full season under his belt. What a shock. Let me guess, Marvin Harrison Jr., maybe the best player in the country, right? So, like I said, you're going to have to throw the ball to beat him. You're going to have to put up with the mistakes. It's the way it goes. That line's all the way down to 5.5. The LSU game still at 7-7. Second quarter, Duke still 3-3. Northern Illinois, Kent State still 10-7. Miami of Ohio up 14-6. Indiana up 10-0. SMU 28-0. And it looks like Navy's got the ball at the SMU 1. That could be a great one for us, getting those 43.5 points as well, as we're going to try to hit the middle in between our SMU -8. They're just into the second quarter. And now we're spinning on the live stream, on the stream feed, which is always a lot of fun. Trying to see what's happening in hell in this Michigan-Ohio State game. So give us just a minute here and see if this game boots back up for us. And yes, it is a Chiefs Cup, even though we are in Arizona. So it looks like Texas A&M might be kicking off there at 7-7, or they have the ball. And we're still waiting for the stream catch up here. The only problem with streaming is when you get this. So 28-7 now, SMU, second quarter. So that 43.5, we took live line with Navy, looking even that much stronger on that one there. That live lines went down to 36.5 after the last touchdown was 43.5. So thank you, Navy, for coming back to score in that game to help us out there. We'll make sure the SMU starters, I guess, stay in through halftime. And Kyle McCord running for his life and a flag. We'll see what that's all about. Southern Miss does score to make it Troy 7, Southern Miss 3. Let's see if we got any other changes. Pittsburgh goes up 10-3 on Duke. Texas A&M, LSU still at 7-7. UConn up 6-0 and has the ball in the red zone. Louisville up 7-0 and Michigan still up 7-0. There was a penalty there on Michigan. What a catch by Stover there. If you guys are watching this game, oh my goodness, what a catch that was. So they're down to like the 26-yard line. You keep throwing the ball and these penalties keep happening. I'm just telling you, like, it's normally good things for Ohio State's offenses. I don't know if they might be able to run the ball later in the game once they soften this up, but they have got to throw the ball. And they're just letting Trayvon Henderson basically get 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Middle Tennessee State now up 10-6 over Sam Houston. I'm looking to see if any other score changes. Houston up 10-6. Like I mentioned, SMU up 28-7 on Navy. And no other changes at this particular point. A&M has moved the ball to basically midfield on LSU there. Michigan still up 7-0. 3rd and 8. Of course, we're still a play behind. Lucky that wasn't intercepted again there. Michigan just dropped an interception in the red zone. Not like them. That is for sure on that. Like I mentioned multiple times before, any questions, just pop them into the chat box. We'll be more than happy to go through any of those with you, whether it's about college football games going on right now, games later today, or anything going on NFL-wise, or if you got basketball questions, Heisman, who's going to coach Texas A&M next, whatever. And if you're talking about Texas A&M next, if Jeff Traylor doesn't get that damn job, I don't know what to tell him. The head coach of UTSA, he's fantastic in Texas, where a bunch of the top recruits are from anyway. So why wouldn't you want the best guy in Texas? Purdue just does score 7-6. UCF scores a touchdown. They're up 13-10 on that one there. So some scoring starting to happen now. It's a little stale at the start, but starting to come together. And Texas A&M now down to the LSU 35-36 yard line. UConn scores to go up 9-0. Louisville still at its 7-0 game. And Ohio State does kick a field goal here to make it 7-3 in the first quarter. So basically, the two scores in the game come off of interception and a huge penalty. About what we expected. Both defenses are talented, so the only way you're going to normally score points on them is what? You get some stupid, ridiculous penalty that moved it 15-plus yards that put them from midfield into the 20-some yard line in order to kick that field goal, or an interception, which puts them first and goal from the 5-yard line. So protect the ball. Could have a possible winner there, right? So don't have any dumb penalties. And we're, like I said, we're a play plus behind on the stream feed for Fox. So, but it is 7-3. 14-6, Miami of Ohio still ahead. Ball State, though, down inside the Miami of Ohio 30. So it looks like they could be kicking a field goal there. Still 28-7 in that SMU game. Coming to the end of the first quarter on that one. And we'll watch the Ohio State kicker make this field goal. And he does, 7-3, like we mentioned before. And if there's no turnovers or big penalties, this game will end 7-3. But if not, which I'm sure there will be more penalties or turnovers, we'll have more scoring in this game. Just trying to see if there's any updates around going on in this early window of games. Nothing so far. So as we get into the rest of the day, too, we'll kind of go through the rest of the day what we've got. So if you're interested in those, we do have – let's see. We do like Arizona State today, even though the change of quarterback. This is mainly a book play as we took ASU. As there's way too much money rolling in on Arizona. It's almost 90% of the money. Also, the same thing on Auburn. 14. We got it at 14.5. It's been 13.5, 14. I'm not saying Alabama is going to lose this game, but Iron Bowl, when it's at Auburn, this is the game why you go to Auburn for, is to play Alabama. There's not really much else to play for. I don't know if they can sell you on national championships. The game that they can sell you on is Alabama. So we like Auburn today in that one as well with the points. Another game that we took that was a book play was going to be UTEP plus the points against Liberty. I've really liked Liberty all season long. Now, they were a monster cover machine early in the season. It wasn't necessarily the book catching up with them as much as it was stupid mistakes by Liberty that they weren't able to cover games. Pick sixes, putting the 10th string defense out there in the third quarter, things of that nature is what cost them some covers late. But they've been a great team. They're undefeated going against UTEP. But we do like the UTEP plus the points today. Let's take a look at what else we got going on here. Rutgers, same thing, was a book play. There's too much money coming out of Maryland. The book's not going like 1-7. So we'll stay with them on that. Jacksonville State, which is our play of the day, is a 2.5-point favorite. They've been as high as 3, but we do love Jacksonville State today. New Mexico State coming off that huge win against Auburn. But I don't foresee it today. It's kind of a letdown day for New Mexico State. We love Jacksonville State. Let's see. Going through the rest of it, we like Baylor today, and this is a book play as well against West Virginia. Rivalry games tend to be like, a lot of the dogs cover as games are a lot closer than anticipated. Same thing with Georgia Tech, Georgia. Love Georgia Tech today. Same thing, Kansas, Cincinnati. We're taking Cincinnati plus the points today. And then we get into the late games. Nevada, who's been horrible all season long. We're hoping they figure out a way to stay within 11. And then last game of the day, Hawaii getting 5.5 at home against Colorado State. So we do have quite a bit of action going on today, now, late and often. Give you updates here. SMU is 28-7 into the second quarter. So that's looking a little bit better as time ticks along, as we've got SMU minus 18 and we have Navy plus 43.5 that we took on the live line. Indiana now is up 14-6. Southern Miss now up 10-7. That's kind of a shocker over Troy. Miami of Ohio up 14-9 as Ball State does kick that field goal. Northern Illinois up 10-7 on Kent State. Middle Tennessee up 10-6 on Sam Houston. Pitt up 10-3 on Duke. Texas A&M does kick a field goal up 10-7 on LSU. That game's been a little bit more lackluster scoring-wise than we anticipated. We thought we'd see points in the 70s there. Haven't seen it so far. Kentucky does tie it up against Louisville in the second quarter, 7-7. And we're at basically the end of the first quarter here with the 7-3 game, Ohio State and Michigan. So kind of where we're at so far in college football as we make the second quarter turn. Pretty much is basically what we're doing here. Michigan, we did lose that first quarter under 9.5. It was plus money. It was one of those ones. Michigan doesn't score a touchdown, though, if it's not for that stupid interception by Kyle McCord on there. So, you live and you die with it, right? It kind of is what it is. Same thing with that LSU first quarter. Can't believe there was only 7 points scored in the first quarter. I thought it was going to end at 14 and we'd lose on the hook, but only with 7 points. That was kind of a shocker there for sure. Miami of Ohio does its job, though, in the first quarter, as they're up now 14-9 in the second quarter, but they do cover the -0.5 as they were up 7-6 going into that. So we will definitely take wins where you can get them, and that is definitely one of them. So on that one there, as we got kind of hosed in a couple other early games so far in the first quarter. So like I said, it's not magic, right? Sometimes you win games you thought for sure you had pegged, and sometimes you lose, sometimes you lose those same games. So now we're looking at the Michigan-Ohio State game. We have under 23.5 total first half. So they're at 10. So basically no touchdowns, and we should be okay in that particular matchup. On that one there. So I guess they're still a play behind there, obviously, if you're listening to us in the background. But Michigan has the ball. Ohio State 48-yard line, 3rd and 8. So we need kind of a big stop there from Ohio State to stop the scoring. 28-7 still in that SMU matchup. SMU actually has a 3rd down in their own territory, but they don't know what to do there. Wow. Kent State in the red zone as they're up 14-10 on Northern Illinois. Wow, that live line has changed. They were like plus 20. Now they're a 7.5-point dog. Let's see here. LSU now has the ball in Texas A&M territory. And that's crazy, bro. Thanks for chatting in. We do appreciate it. If you want to check out how we've done so far this season, you can just go to our YouTube channel. You'll be able to click on the link or Google Sheet link there. It's docs.google and some change. That'll have a list of all of our bets all season long, what juice we got them at, how many units we wagered, the book we placed it at, and then also the results. So feel free to check that out. If you want to check out anything we got going on today, if you just want to see how we did last week, if you want to see what the total is for the season. So football, we're up about 1,213 units so far for the season. Basketball, I think, is up over 900 now. Baseball this year was monstrous, up over 7,500 units. I honestly think when you're looking at betting, football is probably the hardest one. Comparatively so, compared to the other sports. I think baseball and basketball are probably the two easiest ones. They just have a lot more juice rather than point spreads, especially baseball. So in baseball, you got to remind yourself you could have a minus 300 or 400 team in a game can lose, and yes, those are painful. But when you got a team that's going to win 105 games. Or what everybody's looking for is a team that overperforms expectations. So, like a lot of football, a lot of the people that bet on football look for, expect number one in over expected play average. That's kind of a big one there. Like expectations are, we're going to score 21 points for the game, but we end up scoring 24 on a consistent basis. That's kind of what over that expected average, what they're looking for. And that's what a lot of bettors are looking for on that particular one. So like I said, it does change, quite a bit, obviously. So this is kind of I've always said that the sports betting is kind of like a, how do I put this? It's kind of like betting on stock or, playing stock market. It's a long-term play for us. There's going to be ups and downs throughout the mix. No question about that. There's going to be losing weeks. The problem is with sports betting, what happens a lot is, when we do it, we put out our best bets of the day. And then people are like, well, you're stupid. You're an idiot. You missed. Don't think so. Wrong. Stuff like that. But that's only one bet that we have going on. If we miss that bet, yeah, we want to hit those best bets that we put out. I think it's really good publicity when we do hit them, obviously. So, but those are not guarantees. For sure. So, they have to look at the full volume of bets and what we're going. I mean, it's like we don't have one stock in our stock portfolio. We have hundreds. So, if one stock goes down, we're diversified. We don't have all the eggs in one basket. We're not playing on one. Looks like Michigan still short of that first down. SMU looks like they might have to punt their 4th and 2 at their own 37. Let's see here. Troy up 14-10 now. They retake the lead. Kent State still up 14-10. LSU still down 10-7. They have the ball. They are in A&M territory. UConn up 9-0. Kentucky, Louisville still not at 7. And it's 4th and 1 for Michigan. So I'm assuming that they're probably going to go for it here, 4th and 1. I'm going to take a timeout. Looks like they do end up picking this up, though, as like I said, we're a play plus behind on the live stream and we're just looking at what the book's putting out at 1st and 10 at the OSU 38. So, like I said, on that game, obviously we're having the under there. We miss it by the hook on the first quarter. Now trying to stay under 23.5 for the game. The total really hasn't moved much. It's still 45.5 roughly on DraftKings at the moment. So, 46-47 is about where it lived. Let's see. LSU now moved the ball down to the 25 of Texas A&M. And obviously, we have big eyes on this SMU Navy game. As we had pregame, we had it SMU minus 18. Live line, we did take Navy plus 43.5. So, we got a 3 touchdown cushion kind of at the moment. Navy to, I don't know if we need Navy to score again, but the game could end at 28-7. I think we'd all be pretty happy about it. So put it to you that way. As we watch Michigan go for it down the 4th down play, knowing that they already made it. That was pretty close. I mean, we're at 4th down. They're showing the 4th down play, and they're already at 3rd down. So this has been pretty crazy. But on there, absolutely nuts. Looks like the Florida Atlantic Rice game is kicked off. Florida Atlantic FAU taking a 7-0 lead over Rice. Rice was favored in that particular matchup. No live line particularly on that game at the moment. As we watch Michigan probably drain the clock here as they should. I just hate that there's so far they're multiple plays behind. I understand being 1 play behind, but we're multiple plays behind on this particular matchup here already. But like I mentioned before, if you have any questions about any of the games going on now, live lines, what to bet, what not to bet, or any of the games going on today, and SMU just does take a 35-7 lead as they just scored. On that one, so we need Navy to kind of come back and keep that game right around 21. Will be extremely comfortable, I think, for everybody on there. On that one there. So let's see. Also, UCF up 13-10. Indiana up 14-6 on Purdue. Troy up 14-10. Miami, Ohio up 14-9. Northern Illinois down 14-10 against Kent State. Middle Tennessee up 10-9. Pitt up 10-3 on Duke. Duke inside is in the red zone. And then that's crazy, bro. We do like Auburn today in that Iron Bowl. I'll punch that in there for you as well. So we do like Auburn there. I don't think Auburn's going to win the game outright, but weird things happen all the time in that Auburn-Alabama Iron Bowl, and we just think that Auburn's going to be able to keep it within 2 touchdowns. We did get it at 14.5. You can still get it on the alternate line, I think, at 14.5. If you're taking Auburn, I would take the extra hook if they only lose by 2 touchdowns, I'd rather do that than push, right? So I'll eat a little bit of juice on that. Alabama could figure out a way to run away with this game. The Iron Bowls at Auburn, though, are normally relatively close. So I wouldn't say that they're going to I wouldn't say Alabama's going to run away with it, but they have the better team, no question about it. It's just normally we're playing the weird things normally happen when it's at Auburn. So that's what we like there in that one. Looks like LSU is now in the red zone or inside the 10 on Texas A&M. So let's see if they can punch that through. Like we mentioned, SMU up 35-7. And that live line's back to 42.5. That total was in the high 40s, and now is up to 73 in that particular matchup. Might be time to look at the total in that game too. They're at 42 now. If it gets into the 80s, maybe we got to take a look, but they're going under there. Troy up 14-10. Miami, Ohio still up 14-9. But Ball State's moving again. And let's see. Texas A&M still up 10-7. 3rd down for LSU. In this Michigan game here, they're up 7-3 still. Time ticking away. Florida Atlantic up 7-0 on Rice, but Rice is in the red zone. Man, there's way too many looks and stuff on that one. But if we do have any more questions, like I said, about any of the games going on or any of the games coming up today, be more than happy to talk about those. Just drop a note in the chat box. We'll be more than happy to get back with you on that. Also, any of the NFL games tomorrow are coming up. If you're in the NBA, college basketball at all, make sure you feel free to drop those in as well. As we're going to watch this fourth down that we already know they convert. This will be the second fourth down on the drive. And how about that little RPO there with J.J. McCarthy and a pass on 4th and 1? Wow. So what we need Ohio State here to do to continue our under on this one is to hold them to a freaking field goal. Take it 10-0. I don't know what's going on in this LSU game, but they've been at like the 6-yard line, it seems like, for about 10 minutes. I will tell you this. Both of these defenses can definitely play for Ohio State, Michigan. That's for damn sure. So we'd love to hear any of your best bets as well. If you've got any bets for today, tomorrow, for basketball, anything going on, we'd love to hear your bets as well. As that's how I think we all kind of learn. Everybody's got a difference of opinion or bias, maybe from seasons past, years past, where they live, all that kind of good stuff. So we'd love to hear what you've got for your bets as well, as it can help us information-wise. Maybe you've got, maybe you live, let's say, for example, in the Jacksonville, Florida area, and you really love the Jags tomorrow, and this is why. We'd love to hear that. So feel free to do that as well if you like to hear that portion. So, like I said, we like to hear those particular things. Like I said, it does help us as well. Because we're going to have our biases as well on things we like. Like, for example, I get some grief on Chet Holmgren over 1.5 blocks, but when it pays at a 70% clip, I normally like those plays. So, definitely not going to hurt there. Looks like Michigan does score, and there's the touchdown to make it 13-3. I'm kind of surprised here that they got that in. Ohio State defense that looked so stellar, giving up. I mean, the 7 points, the first 7 wasn't their fault. This one is definitely on them. Well, he threaded the needle between 2 guys on that one too. Wow. Ohio State could be in a lot of trouble here, folks. LSU finally does score, make it 14-10 in that matchup with Texas A&M. They are well below the expected total. They're going to need to put up a couple touchdowns here late in the first half, I think, to kind of get us close to that over. And then SMU still up 35-7. Navy has the ball at their own end. Yeah, it was controlled. I don't even know what they're looking at here. There's way too many replays going on in this dumbass game. I understand this game's huge. This game's important. But we do not need to have a review on every play. And there's been a review basically on every play, scoring or not. It's not close, Gus. Appreciate it. He had control going across the end zone. Let's go. Once again, we're going to go through 10 minutes of replays for nothing. College football games take a long time to boot, and then we're going to do this. We're going to extend this thing out by another half hour because we want to replay every game, every play. Just kick it. 14-3 Michigan. UConn takes the lead 12-0. LSU up 14-10 in the second quarter there. Let's see if we got any other changes here. Ball State moving down. They are in the red zone, though, 4th and down for them going against Miami of Ohio. Troy still up 14-10. Purdue still up 14-6. I'm sorry. Indiana still up 14-6. UCF up 13-10. Navy 4th down. If they're basically on 25, they are going to punt down 35-7 against SMU. Like the guy had control going across the end zone. The ball the catch is over once he crosses the end zone. I don't know what the big deal was about that one, but whatever's. So away we go. And we are going to step away for a commercial break here in this Ohio State-Michigan game. We'll be back here in just a couple of minutes. If you have any questions or if you want to talk about any of the games going on today, live line or later on, feel free, or NFL tomorrow. Make sure you chat in the chat box, and we'll be more than happy to discuss those. And we'll talk here in just a couple minutes. I do appreciate the small break there. Ryan Day back on TV bitching about how his guy should have interception when they know damn well it was a touchdown. SMU has the ball back. They're up 35-7. UCF up 13-10 in the red zone. Let's see what else we got going on here. Indiana up over Purdue, 14-6. Troy, 14-10. Ball State does kick a field goal to make it 14-12. Northern Illinois was a huge favorite, still trailing Kent State, 14-10. Middle Tennessee up 10-9. Pittsburgh Duke tied at 10. LSU LSU up 14-10. UConn up 12-0. Louisville takes the lead on Kentucky 10-7 and still 14-3 in this Michigan-Ohio State game. And Florida Atlantic or FAU up 7-0 on Rice there. So, like I said, not as many games as normally in that early slate window. Obviously, there was game Thursday, multiple games on Friday. And then some teams have the week off for rivalry weeks. Go figure. Yeah, we'll sit here and watch Ohio State try to do something here as they're down 14-3. On this one here. So Indiana, like I said, still ahead. We're gonna run this episode until probably the end of this first half for Ohio State and Michigan, and then get on with the day here. Come back tomorrow as we will red zone the first games tomorrow live on live bet on those, because we should have probably 6 or 7 games in the early window tomorrow in the NFL. Oh, Stover with a huge catch. His team's starting to move the ball a little bit more frequently now. UConn does take the lead 19-0 against UMass. FAU still up 7-0 over Rice. Texas A&M did get the ball from LSU. Now 1st and 10 at the LSU 22, basically back in the red zone. Look what happens when you throw the ball against Michigan. They're not as strong against the pass as they are the run. You have to throw the ball against them if you want to run it late. Not a shocker there. Feel free to chat in the chat box if you want to have any questions, or if you want to talk about any of the bets you got going on, or any bets you have coming up later today you want to discuss. We'll be more than happy to do those as we watch the Ohio State-Michigan game here for the first half of this and go over any live bets you might want to take. Just a reminder, we did take Navy plus 43.5. Actually, they're even better now if you want that Navy bet, as they're plus 45.5, and SMU is inside the 30-yard line. That was one of those bets we're going to need another touchdown out of Navy if we're planning on covering that, because I think SMU's on a mission to score more than 50 points today. So we need Navy to score. We assume we're probably going to get a score late, but nothing as of yet from Navy. But SMU looks like they're driving the ball again on that one. And a flag on the play. Exciting stuff. 1st and goal for SMU. Inside the Navy 10. Looks like they're down to the 8-yard line. Duke has tied the game up 10-10. Texas A&M at the LSU 30 as they're going backwards. Now, it looks like Ohio State does score here, 14-9. Must be a touchdown here, and we haven't caught up to the extra point yet. And there goes the first half under. Oh, well, what are you going to do? 23.5, which means we're going to check that. We're probably going to get that game. To be really honest, it's 14-10 now. We're like 2 plays behind. That 51.5 looking under on that bet looks like a pretty solid one there, as they probably get these passing defenses better equipped. Man, what are we, 3 plays behind now in that game? Wow. I think we are 3 plays behind. Amazing. SMU does score to make it 42-7 against Navy. There's the touchdown from Ohio State as we're 3 plays behind. And that Miami of Ohio Ball State game goes to the half. Miami of Ohio up 14-12. As we go to commercial break on that game there. And let's see. If you like that Davy line, that we took a plus 43.5 earlier, now they're at plus 46.5. Even better. Let's see. 14-12.5, like I mentioned, in Miami, Ohio, Ball State. Kent State now up 17-14 over Northern Illinois. That is unbelievable. Northern Illinois once again choking it off as a huge favorite. A&M just does score. Looks like they're going to make it 17-14. With about 30 seconds left. If LSU wants to try to score something here, would greatly be appreciated for us to have the first half over. That one, Florida Atlantic, FAU and Rice are now tied at 7 apiece. So we've got a little bit of time left here for this first half. Looks like about just under 7 minutes to go. That total at 51.5. If there's one more score in this game, I think we're going to have to probably take that under. The total in that SMU Navy game has now gone to 77.5. It's getting really close for us to go the other way, as we think SMU will probably sit a bunch of folks in the second half. No reason to get anybody hurt. As we have to continue to watch John Travolta commercials for Capital One. Let's see if anything else is going on here we need to look at. Nothing else at this particular moment kind of standing out that we need to take a look at. If you do have any questions about any of your bets going on currently or later on today or even tomorrow in the NFL or Monday night in the NFL, make sure you chat in. Be more than happy to talk about any of those. We did talk about the Iron Bowl just a bit. We do like Auburn in that one, plus the 14.5. We think Alabama is definitely, in my opinion, probably one of the top 4 teams in the country. But obviously that loss to Texas is going to be heartbreaking because they had a quarterback issue. That seems to have been fixed. That defense is top notch. Definitely better than these two defenses we've seen so far in the Michigan-Ohio State game. Although I will say, realistically, Ohio State gave up 1 touchdown and Michigan gave up 1 touchdown. That sudden change where it's first and goal up to 5, nobody's going to stop that. You could have the best defense you ever dreamed of, and they're not going to stop that one. It's just one of the sudden change ones are hard. Let's see here. We're going to scroll through the games here, make sure there's nothing going on. Let's see here. Still 14-10, yahoo. I know these two fan bases don't like each other and all that kind of stuff, but it's just a top 5 matchup. Like, sometimes I know the announcers want to make it big, the networks want to make it big, but sometimes it's just like, really? Navy with the ball, but 3rd down, now 4th down. There looks like they're going to punt again as they do their best to not even cover a live line of 43.5. And let's see here. Looks like LSU might have took a knee there. And LSU and Texas A&M to the half, 17-14. Is that as an under first half as well, as it was 33.5? So we got 42-7 in the SMU Navy game. UCF 13-10 lead over Houston. Indiana up 14-12 over Purdue going into the half. Troy up 14-10 going into the half. Miami, Ohio 14-12 lead going into the half. Kent State up 17-10 over Northern Illinois going into the half. Middle Tennessee up over Sam Houston 10-9. Pitt Duke 10-10 at the half. Texas A&M up 17-14 over LSU at the half. UConn up 19-0 at the half, and you are going close to the end of the half. Louisville going into the half up 10-7, 14-10 left in this Michigan-Ohio State game with about 6 minutes left as we are constantly on commercial or review in this damn game. It's pretty sickening. I understand that networks have to make their money, but the reviews have been the absolute killer in this game. So basically every game at the half here, besides SMU Navy and Michigan, Ohio State, and then also FAU and Rice, which is in the first quarter as they started about an hour later, this particular matchup. So we'll watch Michigan get back on the field here. And Michigan, I don't understand why they're so vertical horizontal all the time. Everything's a swing out. So we'll see what else comes up here on this Michigan-Ohio State game. If Michigan can move the ball down the field again, looks like they're at the 30-yard line, around 2nd and 5. McCarthy back to pass again, scrambling around. There's no way that was a catch. Wow. I don't know if there's much to say after that one. That was except wow. And Michigan about midfield. Run the ball quickly because I don't think that was a catch. Surprised they didn't review it as they've reviewed about every time these guys went and took a piss this game. His knee was out of bounds. Let's see what they do here. Michigan moves it to the Ohio State side of the field, just barely over midfield, and back-to-back run plays that go nowhere. Now we're at 3rd and 6. Welcome to the Jim Harbaugh offense. Or I should say the Michigan Wolverine offense, since Harbaugh's not there, right? So even better. Excuse me, folks. Do apologize about that one. As we're creeping closer to halftime on this particular matchup, as we about fall asleep. And it looks like they're going to get a sack on McCarthy, and that'll bring up the punt unit. Loss of 5. Thank you, Gus Johnson. We appreciate it. And if you hear the leaf blower in the background, yes, we are in Arizona, and they're blowing away leaves and rocks as they normally do almost every damn day. So, like I said, if you have any questions here in the last few minutes that we're on the air, make sure you put those in the chat box, whether it's about bets going on currently, games coming up today, tomorrow's NFL, or basketball if we're into that, college or pro, or NBA. Make sure you get that. Michigan punts the ball away. Puts them inside the 5-yard line, so we should see run, punt. for the Buckeyes coming up. Exciting stuff. Basically, we're going to be looking at a few different games here as they go along. We're going to be looking at that Texas A&M LSU game, obviously. We're going to be looking at the SMU Navy game, as SMU is once again inside the Navy 30, as they're already up 42-7. And we have both sides of the ball on that one there. Louisville up 10-7 on Kentucky. Michigan up 14-10, and FAU and Rice tied at 7. So should be some interesting second halves, that's for sure, on that one. But nothing spectacular as of yet. It's actually, I will say this, we watch a lot of football, and obviously we haven't been on every week with you live, but this has been a pretty boring first half. So I'd love to say there's so much action going on we can't keep up. It's more of the opposite way. We can keep up a little bit too much, I think, with the action going on. NFL tomorrow hopefully be a little bit better for the live betting show on there, but nothing as exciting yet. In fact, we're probably going to end this a little bit early due to the fact that we're nothing but commercials and crappy stuff here on TV, and not a lot going on as the rest of the games are at halftime. I do appreciate everybody that participated and showed up for the live show on Live Betting College Football Week 13. We'll be back tomorrow with the NFL. Also, make sure you check out, we did put our bets out for the NBA. Also, best bets have been out all day for college football and NFL parlay of the day. So make sure you check those out on our YouTube channel as well. We do appreciate everybody's support, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.